the issue with Nigerians trying to find their way, Nigerians in Sudan trying to come back home. And of course, you know, we've had the third batch, you know, of the evacuees, you know, brought to Nigeria. That is not without some bit of challenges, especially when we saw Nigerians struggling, you know, at the Egyptian embassy to a point that the Egyptians were telling them, well, if you cannot, you know, comport yourself, you have to go back to Sudan. So I'll be doing this through the eyes of a senior lecturer with University of Abuja, Department of Sociology, Dr. Lakunle Oluwaseun. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, Nigerians have had the third batch of you know, persons from Sudan. How are we doing?
Well, we are trying. But before we go further, I'm a social researcher, not yet at a senior level, still growing. But I work with Sociology Department, University of Abuja, in case of other time. We've tried. We have tried. But we haven't done enough. We need to add more power to our elbow. I don't expect Nigerians to be stranded in Sudan till now. Because Sudan is an African country. The stuff should have been made easier for Nigerians to be evacuated. If the Western world could evacuate their citizens in less than a week, so why are we delaying Africans? Or why is the Sudanese government delaying Africans, their brothers, their sisters, their parents? It doesn't sound well. That implies we still have a lot to do. We have a lot to do. We don't like ourselves in Africa. We are kind of xenocentric because we believe so much in the inferiority of our own things, making special preference for external ones. If the NIDCOM chairperson said we have about 3 million Nigerians living in Sudan, but preference would be given to children, women, and students. Automatically, those are the vulnerable persons that has to be evacuated immediately. But how immediate has the actions been? The crisis erupted, I think, on 15th of April. This is almost a month. And we have seen short videos of Nigerians complaining about the entire process, about the entire procedure. Why are we just like this? I think the African Union also need to sit up. When issues like this come up, it is the role of the African Union. What's the essence and what's the rationale behind the formation of the African Union? No. They need to speak and always make sure that once issues like this happen, they should be the first organization to come to the aid of other Africans, anywhere they are in the world. I think when they speak, their voice would be more respected than individual countries speaking.
When you say they need to speak to who and on what? Speak to the two generals?
The two generals.
To shield their sword?
Yes.
Speak to the two generals to allow foreigners to leave?
Yes.
So what should they really speak on?
African Union is an organization that is backed by law. So when they speak legally. Consult the Sudanese government, the RSF leader. These are individuals. These are people that have attended African Union meetings. These are people that some of the African Union, chiefs even know personally. So at this point, whatever means you can use to solve the problem is welcome.
What if they are not reachable?
I doubt if they are not reachable. Because Sudan as a country would forever remain in Africa. And whether they like it or not, they cannot survive without the support of other African countries. My fear is simple. Because I can't really remember the name. Is it Wagner or something? There is this Russian military outfit that is currently working alongside with the RSF. As we speak right now, it is only the Egyptian government that is giving support to the Sudanese government. So by the time you now, like the Russian military group now, they're foreigners, they're outsiders. Gradually, that is how they will infiltrate Sudan, and the war becomes a full-blown war, and neighboring countries begin to suffer. It's taking too much time. Sudan, there is this consistent ethnic, civil, problems in Sudan for over, I think, about 40, 50 years now. And if you fail to understand the history of a problem, you find it difficult to find a solution to it. We don't learn from our mistakes until it consumes us.
So you are saying that the Sudan issue is self-made issue?
Yes.
Because if we had crises in Rwanda and it is now history, I mean, it never raised its head again since it happened in 1994. How come we have this one in Sudan lasting for over 50 years, like you've said?
The issue is a socially constructed one. It involves two people sitting the way you and I are sitting. Disagreements, disapprovals. Then they sell it out to the gullible public. Then it becomes a problem. A problem that is socially constructed can only be solved socially. What do I mean by can only be solved socially? You must engage those who are the real problems, the two generals. There is nobody that people cannot talk to. No matter how strong you are, there is somebody somewhere who can easily press your mumu button and you smile. Except you are created naturally as a sadist. But I don't think there is anyone who was created in that manner. Look at the case of Rwanda. If you go to Rwanda today, if you are not careful, if you say you are from one ethnic tribe or you are whether the Hutus, Tutsis or whatsoever, you can be jailed. See yourself as a Rwandan, not an affiliate
of either Hutu
or no. But this is a very common problem in Africa. Some people will not prefer to address me as a Nigerian. They will prefer to address me as a Yoruba. And it is like that everywhere in Africa. Because if you look at the composition of most African countries, we have more than enough ethnic tribes. So there is no way all these little misunderstandings will not come up. Even this issue of evacuation. There is this NGO from the, I don't know where they operate from. They raised an alarm that students from Southeast, or let me say people from Southeast, are not being evacuated.
But that's not true.
But that's not true. But the danger with this is that when you sell such false information to the public, most people do not go back for fact verification. So we need to work on our media as well. I don't agree on this issue of blogs, because people don't check them. Who will check them? You can be, they can checkmate you. I can't just sit here and say what is not true. Newspapers cannot just publish without vetting. But an average person now is a journalist. You can just write something, put it on the social media, and before you know, it reaches millions of people within seconds. What kind of false alarm is that? Does that make any sense? And we still have media houses that will go and cover, these press conferences No, we need to checkmate ourselves. There are little problems that can create larger problems. So we need to solve that.
Yeah, we still have a lot more Nigerians still stranded. How are we going about that?
Well, it is still the duty of the government. But I think we also need to revisit the act that establishes NITCOM. We need to, their roles and functions are quite, I don't know what's happening between NITCOM and the mother ministry, which is the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs. NITCOM will come out to say this. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will come out to say this. Why don't you work together? Why don't you work hand in hand? You can only evacuate these people successfully if you work together. But Nigeria, everyone wants to show I'm the boss. There are situations where the boss will have to calm down for the junior ones who can handle those situations to provide possible solution to the problems. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is just an administrative head. He's the CEO of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Yours is to coordinate and administer. There are departments that are shouldered with the responsibility of solving these problems. Allow them. You are not supposed to be the one to be coming online speaking. No. Let people who can do the job do the job.
Yeah, but you know that if he doesn't speak, Nigerians will say he doesn't know his job.
It is because we expect too much from these people. We expect too much from them. We expect too much from them. They have spoken. They mustn't come out. What we need is that statements must be coming from them from time to time. The public must be aware of what is happening from time to time. If you do this continuously, there is nobody that will even demand your physical attention. Your physical attention will not change anything. So we have to sit up in this country. Because by now, out of 3 million, we are making an attempt to evacuate just 5,500. That figure is insignificant. So what will happen to the remaining people? They should find their ways.
I think the process is still on. So much has been given.
If by now,
$1 million, about 40 buses to convey them from Sudan to Egypt, and then from Egypt to be airlifted.
The 40 buses have been able to convey. They've been able to convey only 1,600 people out of 5,500. In how many days? Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? These kids, elderly persons, children, the vulnerables, will have to drive for several hours. They'll have to sit inside the bus for several hours before they get to Egypt. Deserts. And you know what happens in deserts. There are criminal gangs, criminal elements who operate within all these deserts. So it simply means as you are taking them out of an unsafe place, you are equally passing another unsafe place. We saw videos of the students lamenting how they were abandoned in the safari. No. If they were airlifted, how many hours will it take them to get to Nigeria? It's just because we don't have strong ties with some of these countries and we don't respect ourselves. If we respect ourselves, no, Nigerians are not part of your war. Other citizens are not part of your war. The war possibly is for the betterment of your own country. So allow those who are not your citizens to live. Why are we like this? I don't pray for war in Nigeria. Never.
There won't be war in Nigeria.
Never. But I don't think Nigeria will ever treat any African that way. I remember when they were killing our people in South Africa. We told the path of peace because we are giants. So I think when the next African Union Summit, the leaders, they should speak up. By now I expect that the African Union should convey, emergency meetings. They're just sitting there, European Union will not do this.
But in your opinion, who do you think in Africa, whether president or past president, can actually speak on this issue and the both generals will listen?
My problem is that most of those respected Africans, some of them are gone. People like Desmond Tutu, Nelson Mandela. We have Obasanjo that is still alive. President Jonathan has been at the forefront in recent times. We have big persons, respected personalities from other parts
So can the
of
AU,
Africa.
can the AU engage them to
Yes.
broker peace?
By now, the AU should engage those people to broker peace. There is no way those people will go to Sudan and they will be attacked. No. Because the Sudanese military and the RSF forces know how powerful
They know our strength.
African Union is, and they know how powerful those individuals equally are. You dare not do anything silly to them. There is no way they will not respect them. The African Union should immediately, as a matter of urgency, set up a committee, a very strong and formidable one. Let them go to Sudan and broker peace. Let's even see that they have gone there. Yes, they should make that attempt. We shouldn't wait until we begin to hear that thousands have been killed. Because this RSF you are talking about, they even have more fighters than the Sudanese military. Theirs is between
With sophisticated weapons.
with sophisticated weapons, sophisticated
So,
ones.
but how come, the country got to that extent where, non-state actors can
Their former president messed
get
up.
firearms?
Their former president messed up because he used the RSF forces. He used them with its maximum strength. He even sent them to Libya, sending them to Nigeria to fight. He sent them to Yemen because of his personal interest. Greediness is one of the problems that led to this issue in Sudan. Non-state actors having such arms and ammunition. How do you even mop up these arms? You cannot. When some of them that try to, resocialize themselves, they will not stay hand over those arms. They will rather sell it out to places like Niger, Mali, Chad, because the RSF itself was formed from the Janjaweeds. The Janjaweeds were a kind of camel marketing cartel. So these guys are now so strong that they can confront the Sudanese army at any time. That is why the Egyptian government is helping the Sudanese government, because those guys are more. They are far more than the Sudanese military. So it's a very serious problem. The only way the Sudanese government, if they are unable to broker peace, the only way they can finish those people is by getting military aid
From other countries?
from other countries. And that will escalate the war.
Why?
Fine. Like the Russian military group now that's supporting them, don't be surprised ISIS or ISIL, Islamic State, ISWAP, Islamic State of West African Province. Janjaweed, the RSF, as far as I'm concerned, they are more or less like a terrorist organization. So bringing them, they use them a lot. Bashir used them a lot. To the extent that they had their gun trucks, they had everything, they patrolled, they are deployed everywhere. They even, the first leader, their first appointed leader was given the title of a lieutenant general. Non-state actors. So what do you do to that?
Wow, so if you're just joining us, the program is This Morning on ITV, and we're looking at the effort by the Nigerian government to, bring Nigerians that are stranded in Sudan. And of course, I guess a lecturer with the sociology department, University of Abuja, said quite a lot on these particular issues. So before we go, what you call it miracle are we expecting from the authorities concerned in Nigeria? As we know now, there are two, the NIDCO and the Foreign Affairs Ministry. What can they do to ensure that no one is left behind?
In this kind of situation, miracles don't happen. And miracles will not solve problems that are socially constructed. When I say problems that are socially constructed, I'm talking about problems that started as a result of interaction between and among members of the society. So they still have to come back to table, assess the entire situation. They should have an assessment team, which I feel they do. When you assess the situation on a daily basis, you know the next step. But it seems they are not assessing the situation. We have Nigerian workers in our embassy in Sudan, right? They should be on ground. Another set of persons from the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs should equally be sent to Sudan. Involve Red Cross, involve all other organizations, because you as a ministry cannot assess everything. That's why even in a ministry you have departments. So come up with an assessment team that will assess the situation on a daily basis. When you assess the situation, you come up with a solution. Some are going to be temporary solution, and while some are going to be permanent solution. But what is needed right now for our people to be safe is temporary solution. Temporary solution is the sense that evacuate them, bring them back home, assess their situation. Those who may want to go back after the war should go back. Unfortunately for the students studying, I sympathize with them. I really, really sympathize with them. This will also, push the government to invest in our education. It's a slap on the Nigerian government's face that Nigerians are leaving the shores of this country and going to Sudan to study.
Yeah, ASU is always on strike. You are one of them.
Let me tell you, I will put this to you today.
No, you are one of them.
I will put this to you today. Nigerian government is not serious about education.
No, it is serious, and
we
have seen the budget. No, we have seen the we have seen the 2023 budget. About 470 billion is captured for
470 billion for a year.
Yes.
Right now, let me put this to you. Let me put this.
No, I can only listen.
Okay.
You can't put it to me.
You see. The reason I said that, one, there are students who have no business with school that are in school.
How do you mean? They didn't pass JAM? They have no O-levels?
No. University education is not meant for everyone. There are skills, yes. You understand? The government should try as much as possible to rebrand our universities. And that is the only time we are going to have the best.
Yeah, but we are seeing TED Fund is working so hard.
TED Fund is working.
We are seeing structures in most universities.
It is not all about structures. It is about the quality of education. We are not talking about quantity. We are talking about quality. I'm making reference to those years where a class had nothing less than 50 students. Not universities of today where you have to teach over 300, 400 students.
The size of the population.
It's
the size of the population.
Those who are supposed to go to polytechnic to acquire skills, because of the dichotomy and the kind of stratification that exists even among graduates. I'm a university graduate, HND holder. That is the reason most people are going to the university. Somebody who is in the faculty of law should be trained in such a way that he or she will become a better lawyer. So if we rebrand our universities, people will not go to Sudan.
Okay.
Sudan?
All right.
Sudan?
I must thank you for your time with us on the program this morning. So much has been said by your humble self. We hope to bring you again to look at how Nigeria's education can be upgraded.
Of course. I'll be very happy.
We'll look at that, because you believe that ASU is not a problem. So we'll take a quick break. Many thanks to Dr. Lakunle Oluwaseun, Astrology Lecturer, University of Abuja. Thank you so much.